All right, we are here, Team Device Talks, at the close of Device Talks Boston 2025. It's been a fantastic 2 days. We met, I can't count the number of nice people who came up and said hello and had compliments about the event. So I'm glad the folks who attended enjoyed it, and I want to hear the folks who helped make it, how you enjoyed it. Kayleen Brown, we'll do a round table. We'll do highlights of the 2 days. We'll go around twice. So name a highlight of the day for you, of the event rather, for you.
Well, I think the obvious choice would be the Women in MedTech breakfast.
Good choice.
For me, that's something that I look forward to every opportunity, and to see it double in size, which was very unexpected. We grew 100% and then had a wait list of almost 30 other women and allies in MedTech. Was very affirming that this is not just something that's a nice to have, but a have to have. Mm-hmm. And then this year, incorporating discussion leaders and a theme, I think really strengthened the conversation and really narrowed the scope. And from what I heard walking around the room was really deep connections being made and insights that I had not really heard before. And then having diversity of perspective by choosing the discussion leaders who had a really rich background, but a unique background, I think really rounded out the conversation in a way that I didn't expect. So that was really, really validating and affirming.
So if I may follow up, you opened the session being very vulnerable, sharing something about yourself. I think it set the tone for the whole hour and a half. Folks felt they could be comfortable as well. Did you have any hesitation to share a challenge that you overcame as a young woman?
Absolutely. I say it all the time. I've been in MedTech for 19 years, and this is the first time 98% of my community had learned that I had a speech impediment until I was 15 years old. I tried to communicate this really kind of strong, flawless persona or character, and as I'm learning, everybody has a speech impediment, or everybody has a body issue, or everybody has, fill in the blank, and it's those experiences that have shaped who we are. And going back to kind of the diversity of perspective has shaped our perspective, and there's so much value in that. And one of the things that I realized, having the platform that we have and how lucky we are, we have a responsibility to pave that pathway or to build that bridge. And to do that, you have to pay a toll, called a metaphor. And my toll was to share who I am. If I'm asking you to share who you are, yep, I need to share who I am. And it was very nerve-wracking at the moment, but I'm so thrilled that I did it. That the looks on everybody's faces were like, yeah, me too. Something fill in the blank, me too. It was really great.
That's amazing. No, it's always the question, how much to share. I try to be as transparent as possible, even when I break my shoe with LinkedIn. Like, this is life in the big city. I have not dug as deep as you did with that. So kudos to you. Yeah. I think our community is better knowing that, they're not alone if they're feeling insecure, may not be the right, but unsure about or uncomfortable at something of themselves. So thank you for opening that door. Emira, you are been running the recording studio here. You're an invaluable piece of Device Talks in our virtual world, but it's great to have you in person. So what are some of your takeaways, or your one principal takeaway? We'll go around
I'll start
again.
with one. There's lots. Of course, I knew that Kayleen was going to talk about the Women in MedTech breakfast, which was also a highlight. But being down here, I'm really excited about our Future of MedTech series. Mm-hmm. I have got to listen to all of them already. I'm the only person who has
the two studio people who have to eliminate.
That's true. Yeah. But yes, I'm the one on our team who has listened to all of this, and I am really excited to hear all of these come together. We've had so many interesting perspectives: surgical robotics, AI, ASCs. Mm-hmm. We've done so many different topics with those, and how they come together. It's going to be a really cool series, and I'm really excited to see that all come together.
And if you don't mind me saying, you're rather natural behind the camera.
Here. Bold underline.
Not everyone is. Where does that level of comfort come from?
I am a military brat, and I am a military spouse, and I moved all the time. I've lived in 13 states. I've never lived in a single place for longer than 4 years. And you learn to converse with people. What I say is I can find something to talk about with any person I have ever met. And I think it just comes from that.
I think we have a potential topic for next year's Women in MedTech breakfast for sure.
How about you,
Tom?
I'll ask myself.
Yeah. We'll ask you, Tom, what has been your highlight?
It's hard to top the opening interview with Yvonne Tornos, Zimmer Biomet. That's a pretty obvious one, but He is just as you see him. Like as we walked away and had the conversation, nothing changed about what happened on stage and what happened after. The story I told is true of him texting me about something and me just saying, "Hey, would you speak at DeviceTalks Boston?" And right away he's like, "Absolutely." And to the point where I'm like, "All right, like, who do I have to call? What schedules do you have to check?" And he's like, "No, I'll be there." And he was here. So that means a lot. And it means a lot to have a CEO who, like you did and like you just did, put yourself out there, talks about the things of themselves that makes themselves uncomfortable, shares their enthusiasm for the industry, their hope for the industry, their optimism. I don't know why that's a bad thing. And I'll say it here, more CEOs need to get out and share something about themselves to your employees, to your customers, to your shareholders, to us, your industry shareholders who are tied to your fate, whether you know it or not. Like, we need more CEOs like Yvonne Torres. So that's my highlight.
You can't ask for something you're not willing to give yourself.
Right,
so I
exactly.
think that's so very well said. And I'm going to step in here because I know you would never say it yourself. But one of the big topics from Yvonne Torres was you and your influence on the medical device industry. And that was very touching. I've known you for 15 years, and I know the impact you make on my life personally. But to hear it from somebody who has such visibility and is so honest, he didn't need to go on stage and share how inspiring you are to him. And that's what happened in front of a room full of people. And I do hope that you take a moment and replay that experience and pat yourself on the back because you built this.
I appreciate it. Outwardly, I will not brush it off, but I will just let it appear to roll off. But it's inside. And it's
put it in your pocket, keep it for later.
I will access that many, many times. So thank you for bringing it up. You're right, I would not have brought that up by myself, but thank you. So we'll go round 2 because I think round 1 was a lot of fun. Another highlight of the day, of the event.
I have to say, Dr. Cherise Sparks, my keynote.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have had, I'm getting chills. We could have had 2 days of Dr. Cherise Sparks. Yeah. From talking about the DEI rollback and how MedTech can find ways to be resilient. From talking about what it's like to be the 3rd Black woman orthopedic trauma surgeon in the world, taking that experience, owning that experience, going into medical affairs, building that at J&J, building it to startup companies, and then being brought in as a board member, and then stepping down as a board member to take the role as Inspire Medical Systems' first ever chief medical officer, and what that meant for her, what that meant for the community. It was so inspiring, and we keep kind of going back to this sharing and vulnerability, and Dr. Sparks is so vulnerable and so honest. It was, for me, an absolute privilege, and watching the audience's responses was actually my highlight on top of the highlight. We talked about some uncomfortable topics, and we did that quite intentionally. We wanted to make a safe space, but to have conversations that really matter. It's important to both of us. It's important to all of us. And she did that beautifully, and I think it was incredibly well received. And then to tie it in a bow, after the session, I'm running to my next session and my phone rings and I look down and Dr. Sparks sends me a text message and says, thank you for giving me a platform and visibility and for allowing this conversation to happen. That's the kind of person she is. It was just really so incredible.
And she was attending the Women in MedTech breakfast as well, so she saw your message, and it's just, again, you get the ball rolling. And not that, but when she shared that she was the 3rd African-American woman trained as a, number one, my mind was blown, because I didn't think that was possible, because as she said, she's a younger woman. I would have thought that would have been something we'd read about in the history books and not hear about at DeviceTalks Boston. But secondly, just her openness about herself and her journey. We'll go back to, you're grateful when someone gives that much of themselves. So good choice there, Chef. Emira, right. Number 2.
Absolutely. So I'm going to continue to rep the expo floor because that's where I've been here. Next year, maybe I'll make it upstairs for more than just the breakfast. But really, the energy that has been on the expo floor the entire time that we've been here has just been palpable. People are excited. It's really exciting. We've got the 2 engineering theaters, which every time I have managed to walk past are just full to bursting, standing room only,
Yep.
which is really incredible. I was, I will admit, I was a little nervous when I heard we were doing 2 engineering theaters, and I thought that they would pull from each other. It doesn't seem to be the case at all, and everybody is just so excited to be here, and that's the kind of energy that we want to bring here. So so I hope that continues to always be the case. It's been the case as far as I've been involved in DeviceTalks, but I think it just gets bigger and better. It just gets more exciting. There's more booths, more people. It's great. It's just the energy is palpable.
You actually stole mine.
Ah!
Because I agree with you 100%. And we were walking through here on Tuesday when folks were setting up, and I was a little nervous. I'm like, all these folks are here, like working really hard on the promise that we build something that's going to make it worth their time. And I made a point of walking around the last couple of days and talking to many of the folks at the booths. Not everybody, but I'm trying to get there. And folks, overall, I'd say 99% of them were happy. Actually, no one was unhappy. Some were like, we'll see, like we're expecting a peak, but everyone was happy with the outcome, with the leads they're getting, with the conversations they're having. And I'll add to that just the experience with people as a whole. You and I were all at the cocktail reception last night.
Yes, the shoulder to shoulder.
So that was very tight. That was very tight, but we're a close community. But just a number of people came up and just to say thank you, or just to say hi, or just to say they appreciate what we do. Damn, like if that doesn't get you going in the morning, like what are you doing? Like what else do you need? So thank you to everyone who some people you could tell they're a little uncertain whether they're going to do it or not, but they, to our point, put themselves out there, and it makes these events, these things aren't easy to put together, as we all experience.
No.
But once you're here and it's all happening, you're like, yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it next year. It'll be fun. So since
Yes,
you took
please.
mine, yeah, we covered the people. I guess I just came from the venture capital panel. MedTech Innovator, once again, fantastic partner. We changed things up a little bit this year. We had to move them into another room. They corrected easily. They still did great service for their startups, but as we always do, we wrapped it up with the venture capital panel. And it was great to see up there Tasneem Dudwala from Excel Star, Abigail Hunter-Syed from Olympus, and Tracy Warren from American Heart Association, and Nicole Black from MedTech Innovator made a point of calling out that the three investors were women, and it was not necessarily intentional. These were just the 3 people we were having here. It just kind of worked out that way, and it's not like I didn't notice. I did, but as you just watched it happen, it wasn't a big deal. You're just like, oh, it's a venture panel. Move on, like next thing. And once she sort of called attention to it, and people gave a cheer, which was nice. It was just a venture panel, and it was a really damn good venture panel. There was some really great evidence there. So for me, I don't know, it's just great to be able to put that out in the universe. And next year, we won't have to call it out, or the next event we have, it'll just be a panel, and that's where we should go. We should just have panels.
I have to add to that the sustainability panel with Boston Scientific.
Please.
And with Bellevue Hospital.
Yep.
It was an all-female panel.
That's right.
And it was completely by accident. And I was in the prep call and I went, oh. And admittedly, I didn't do my pre-research that I normally do because I wanted to do it with the prep. So I didn't look anybody up on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So when we showed up, it was, oh, this was the very first completely by accident, organic, all-female panel that happened. So we had 2 in the same conference,
Fantastic.
And it took 2 decades to get here where it was just completely normal. How are we getting closer to that? Because that's really, really exciting.
I hope so. I mean, for all the talk of folks saying we don't need DEI anymore, I say, oh, it's like, we clearly need to continue to move forward in a productive way for the industry. But I, as an organizer of conferences, I'm happy when we have an Ashley McAvoy get a job as a CEO. I want more, and as an organizer of keynote speakers, I want the opportunity to bring more voices to those stages. Industry needs to help us do that, and they are slowly, but step it up. Let's go. Let's get a little more.
We're not getting rid of the Women in MedTech breakfast anyway, so we might as well just continue to do that. These things may happen organically, but we're not getting rid of that.
Just speaking of the breakfast again, I mean, folks were lined up out the door.
They were.
To get in there, and they were waiting patiently, and it was no big hassle, and people were very happy to get up at It was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
They got up extra early to come out.
Yes. And we had asked the discussion leaders to show up at 7:30.
Yep.
And they were all there. It was pretty remarkable. And the only moment where I didn't feel as quote unquote in control in the moment that I could possibly be was the line was so long to get into the breakfast that I actually came up to you and I said, Tom, I'm not entirely sure what to do because I want to start on time, but there's still a line out the door. Should I just start? So there were so many people trying to get into the room that we ended up being 15 minutes late, which actually pushed the morning sessions back 15 minutes, and it all worked out perfectly. What a fantastic problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right.
problem
And we'll correct that next year. We'll have to find a way to make that line move smoother because I heard you both doing your interview early, and I think we got to make this thing bigger because
Agreed.
sell out at 100, sell out at 200. I think the public is speaking, so we definitely had to turn people away. I know today there were some people who were trying to find their way in, and as much as we wanted to open the doors, we couldn't, but we'll find a way to get them in next year. So I think it's a really good wrap of Device Talks Boston 2025.
Congratulations, Chef.
Congratulations to you and to you. Thank you. It does not happen. I was so thrilled to have you both by my side as this all comes together and all unfolds because it's scary. You're like at the top of a roller coaster and you're just like, okay, here we go. And you want to have friends by your side to make sure you get to the bottom safely. So thank you so much.
Thank you.